instead of hating, ask questions, start to educate yourself.
I agree. That's why.
Start to have it's simple. Like I said, it may not, believe it or not, it's simple. Just have an appreciation for what other people are doing.
Yep.
Especially if that's something that you want, because you can learn something from it.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Is There More Podcast. I'm your host, Farrakhan, aka Khan.
And now I'm Lefty Luciano. You back with another one, y'all.
Yep, you heard what DJ Collins said, right?
Listen, you already know.
Major key alert.
Exactly.
So today we're going, dive into it. We're talking about pride. Pride is the devil.
Pride is the devil.
Yeah, for real though. Cole definitely was on some shit when he said that.
Right, but he definitely need to, dive into some real talk stuff.
The reason why we're talking about it, because I feel as if collectively it's been holding a lot of us back. So I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on that. If you believe it's preventing a lot of us from reaching our full potential, and if so, why?
Absolutely. I think as a culture, it's definitely holding us back and stopping us, as one, reaching our full potential in our communities and stuff like that. Because this is the thing about pride. My grandfather said to me, pride is a disease of the heart. And when he said it, I'm like, damn. He kind of hit me deep. And as I kind of dived into it, it really is, because pride will really have you miss out on certain things in life because you think you feel as though whatever the situation was, you feel like you got slighted or something like that. So to prove a point, you're going to, sit back and be like, no, I'm going to remove myself from it. I don't need to be a part of that. They going to, one day that person going to need me. And when they do, I ain't going to pick up, I'm going to ignore the call or whatever the situation may be. And I think just from that standpoint, it's unnecessary because we need one another.
Facts.
That's the only way we're going to reach the next level and really tap into our potential. But a lot of these problems come from not being able to put your pride to the side and really sit there and listen to what somebody's saying to you. If somebody's giving you game, sit back and listen. You don't got to apply the information, but don't get defensive and, in your feelings about it. So, yeah, absolutely, I think it's stopping us from reaching our full potential in so many different ways, which we obviously going to get into. But what about you? Do you believe that has anything to do with us reaching our full potential as one? Or as an individual, you know what I mean?
No, definitely a good question. Definitely a question I think that a lot of us needs to, take in and really start asking ourselves.
Right.
For me, I believe that it is preventing a lot of us from reaching our full potential. From what I see, from what I know. Right. I think that, how can I put it?
What are some ways that you think that it has, or you have seen, matter of fact, for yourself, that it has stopped you from reaching your full potential?
So for myself, it's had me go, sort of what you're saying, on a lot of situations, whether it's a friendship, relationship, even business, it keep you in the same cycle and in the same situation because of pride.
Right.
Instead of just standing on, like I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hit up my homie. Even if I'm mad at him, I'm going to hit up my homie. We both, I know you thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Or for the most part, that's kind of how it be. You know how our teachers used to tell us, if you got a question somebody else in the classroom do? Right. Even back then, everybody had pride. Nobody want to look like they want to be dumb.
Oh, yeah, nobody want to be the nerd. Nobody want to get called out.
Or raise their hand. Everybody like, bro, we trying to lead a class, whatever. You know what I mean? You holding up class and stuff. So even back then, it would be a class of 30. The whole time, you understand that somebody else probably has the same question that you do, but nobody really want to, raise their hand. So I think that it keeps you...
But even think about that, not to cut you off. Right there, we probably really, we probably really... When the teacher asked a question in the example that you gave, you probably knew the answer, but you wanted to sit back because for some reason we made it seem like being the smartest in the class was a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true too. That's
When
true
you
too.
know what I mean, being the teacher, being the first one that had an answer, being the teacher's pet, whatever you want to call it, was a bad thing. That has never been.
Or just being scared that it wasn't right.
Right,
And that's your pride though. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being able to accept that, okay, I was wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to be the first person to be like, you right. Whole time
Exposing
you're wrong.
yourself.
Yeah, exposing yourself. Right. So for a lot of us, like I said, it started young. You know what I'm saying? So we got to this point, but back then it was more unconscious. I think that now it's more like people do it consciously. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not about to hit him up. I'm not about to hit her up. You know what I mean? I'm mad at my friend. I'm mad at my cousin or whatever. Maybe I'm mad at my parents. And the whole time, the situation has to be resolved one way or the other. That's the thing about trauma. You know
So you felt yourself.
What?
Sorry. So you felt yourself in situations where you could have, somebody said something to you, you could have took heed to their advice, and it would have put you in a better position where you kind of just brushed it off or act like they didn't know what they were talking about. Like, was that the scenario for you that kind of held you back? And they, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would say it keeps you in situations longer than you need to be. Because you're not truly old one way or the other until you can stand on what you've done. And I'm saying that could be good or bad.
Right.
Until you can release your pride, you're always going to be in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like I said, I may be sitting there like, damn, I'm not going to hit her up. But I'm constantly thinking about hitting her up. Somebody else may be like, yo, I'm not about to hit her fair or whatever. Or I'm mad at whatever. But you thinking about it. It's not going nowhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no way that you can put it in your subconscious or your unconscious. It's not going nowhere.
Yeah, ultimately, your pride
Keeps the trauma and the shit on your mind continuing to go.
right. It lets that disease spread and take
Yeah,
over your
spread.
pride.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Literally, because
facts.
it consumes all your thoughts, and ultimately, your thoughts are your actions.
Yep.
So it keeps you in that same cycle. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like I said, so I believe that at the end of the day, it's one of those things where for all of us and everybody out there, I think that start being able to stand on what you're doing. So it's hard. You may look like a fool. Even like I said, obviously our last episode we was talking about relationships and shit like that.
Right.
You may look like a fool. I don't care though.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the person who embraces their feelings and can move, can move off of embracing that, and the truth of how they feel is always gonna be the truest to themselves.
Well,
The person who's hold on, I'm just finish this. The person who's holding it in and trying to, like I said, act tough or trying to act cool, they're gonna be the person that's always struggling. They're gonna be fighting themselves.
Absolutely.
You fighting yourself.
But that's actually what I was about to get into. Pride is really just a defense mechanism
For sure.
to protect yourself from, feeling vulnerable
Yep.
or feeling exposed in the
Yep.
world.
Mhm.
And you have to, recognize that for yourself, because ultimately you feel like your insecurities are about to come out. So
Yeah.
before you let somebody expose that, I'm about to get defensive. I'm about to cuss you out. I'm about to do, whatever
Yeah.
the scenario may be.
Protect yourself.
And you can see in a lot of situations, that's what comes out. People's fears and insecurities really come out when their pride is being challenged, or their ego or whatever is being challenged. Like, to give you a few examples, when it comes to money, how money changed people, or how people switch up or start to feel entitled to your money because they don't want to work as an individual, or whatever the situation may be. But
hold on, let me say. So I think when it comes to the money avenue, I feel as if I wouldn't even say that it changed people, because I feel like a lot of us haven't been in a situation to really have money. You know what I'm saying? To really know whether it's changing people. But I think that the perspective is.
But even think about an example because everybody had this situation where you lend out money to somebody, and then when you try to spend a block to get your money back, that person,
mad at you for calling.
They mad at you because you call them for your break. Like, what? You laughing, but that really be the case.
That's real shit though.
You calling back for that $20? I need my dub.
Yeah, but they gonna tell you, they gonna be like, it's $20 though. You
Right.
calling for $20? You must really be broke. It's $20.
Right, but Pete, the whole time they broke. That's why they're not trying to give you your bread back. That's really what it comes down to.
Shit,
but you want to project your insecurities on me.
Right.
And that's literally, like I said, we don't even gotta have money, but we already know if we going through this now, that person's gonna put you through those problems when you actually get some money.
Yeah.
So
sure.
instead of, like I said, just being honest with yourself, yo, I ain't got it. I ain't got it, but that's why I'm asking. I mean, yeah, like in our relationship, I have never asked you for bread. Never.
Ever. We've never done it. Yeah.
Right. And
truth be told, we don't. The crazy thing about it is, I can't tell you if that would change something or not. But at the end of the day, I understand from other situations and even just looking out there, money. I feel like two things that literally creates conflict: money and drama when it comes to like relationships and stuff like that. I would say for men, you know what I'm saying? Like for men, the two things that dudes gonna fight over or get killed over is gonna be women and money. That's really it. Like it ain't nothing else really deep. We ain't killing and fighting over sports. It's not none of that. It's going to be women and money.
Well, we already know that, but just even think about how simple this is. Throughout our friendship, I have never asked you for money.
Right, facts.
That's why we have never had an argument today. We have heated debates, you know what I mean, good debates, but we have never had an argument. Imagine I ask you for $100 today, and I don't, you know what I mean, and I say I'll give it back to you in a week. First of all, I just gave you my word that I'm going to give it back to you in a week.
Right.
Imagine if you call me trying to collect your bread. I don't answer. I'm you know what I mean, I'm dodging you. I'm not trying to give you your bread back. Everything that I just talked about before becomes irrelevant because now I just lied to you. I just took your money.
Yeah, now it's getting make a bigger problem. Now I gotta chase you down. Now you gonna sit there and say, yo, stop hounding. You know what I mean?
Right. And literally that whole situation was avoided if I just kept my word. Because 9 times out of 10, most people when they ask for money, they typically tell you they're gonna give it back in X amount of time.
Yeah, they're gonna tell you. Yeah, for sure.
And that's what tends to lead to you calling them and then they not answering. But instead of, you know what I mean, letting you know, that they don't have the money or they really don't need it, they rather avoid you.
Well, that's true. I think the key to that though, kind of one of the solutions to that is stop putting people that you care about and you love in vulnerable positions to have to tell you no. Because we already know how you going to receive that. You know what I'm saying? We know how a lot of people take no.
Well, but you ain't tell them no, though. But you already told them yes.
No. But what I'm saying is, whether you tell them yes or no, what I'm trying to say is, I'm not going to, the reason we haven't asked each other because we're not trying to put each other in that situation. Because the thing about it is, I'm only asking you knowing 9 times out of 10 that you got it. And some people you may ask not knowing they got it. But I'm just saying at the end of the day, if you, no matter how you feel, whether you got it or don't got it, if you down to your last, you really need your friend to look out for you, your girl, your boyfriend, whoever it may be, your parents to look out for you, and you ask them and they say no, you definitely going to project your situation onto your reaction. So because you down bad and you really effed up, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't the fact that they really kind of telling you no. It's just the fact that they telling you no and you know what I'm saying?
Right, but what I think is, I agree with what you're saying, but you have to understand that a lot of good relationships, like the example I just gave with us, and because the person actually didn't need the money. So it was a person that you would lend out money to. But now it's that person's responsibility to repay you back your money. And it's truly their actions, not yours, that lead to the relationship going sideways.
100.
Because instead of them just simply picking up the phone and letting them know, hey, I don't got the money right now.
Keep you updated. Yeah.
Give you updates, communicating with you, through the process so you not hounding them, they rather avoid you.
Yeah.
And then fall back into their insecurities, their ego, their pride, to be like, yo, I ain't giving them the money because it's only $20. Yet, if that was the case, why you ain't had that energy from the rep?
Yeah, right. Well, my whole thing is I'm gonna flip it. Why are you asking me for $20?
Right. If you got the perspective that is only a low of $20, then you should have the $20. That way, this whole situation could be avoided.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's literally, really that simple.
Well, that's the money side of it. Like I said, I think at the end of the day, I just think that we need to stop putting each other, the people you care about and love about, in compromising situations. Please stop doing that. Don't, like I said, I don't ask you for money. You don't ask me for money. Now, it's not because you ain't got it and because I don't got it. You know what I'm saying? We both got it. But the key is, even when it comes to that, is, because we talked about this before, right? If you are going to do that and you calling somebody asking them for money, why won't you offer to do something for them first? Because I had no problem giving you $200 if you be like, yo, bro, I need $200. I'll give you this shit. This is the thing. I'll give you this shit. I don't even want it back because you did something for it. Yo, bro, I need $200.
Because everything ain't about money. Everything ain't about money.
Exactly. What can I do for you? Because the whole time, if you're really trying to build and get to the next level, it's a lot of shit you got to do. A lot of shit on your plate.
Absolutely.
So my whole thing about it is, instead of calling being like, yo, I need $50.
Right.
I need $50 for you. What can I do for that? You know what I'm saying? Literally, you might be like, yo, bro, I need you to run down something real quick. You might be like, I need you just to Google something and look it up because I was looking, I couldn't find it. But you at work or something like that. But
you a favor. Yeah, I mean, I was going to have to pay somebody else to do that anyway. So, shoot, I'll pay you $50 to do that. Because ultimately, you helping me.
Right. Even when it came, I ain't even control, but even when it came to like the passport, like, you know what I mean? Obviously, having to get the passport, having to get, you know what I mean? So many things that a lot of people got on their plate that at the end of the day, if you're going to ask for money, first preference it with what can I do anything for you? I may say, no, I'm good. And I will still give you the money. But then I know you coming from a side that you really need the money, you really willing to work for it. I'm not about to be working for money and just keep giving it up to anybody. I'm not
right, but that comes from...
That's not even fair.
But that comes from literally somebody pride and ego thinking that because they didn't approach you on, let me work for it. Because the only way you get money in this world is if you work for it.
Yep.
I mean, unless you came into money, but that's not, in our culture, the situation.
Right.
So when people feel like they don't got to work for it, they feel entitled that because you got money that you should, you know what I mean, give it, whatever it is. It don't got to be a lot of money, but it's, you know what I mean, people constantly ask for money. So to really, like I said, switch your mindset up. Stop always having your hand out.
Mm-hmm.
Scratch somebody, you know what I mean? A favor for a favor.
Yep.
Everything isn't about money. Everything isn't about money. And we have to understand that as people. To literally, to avoid these unnecessary, situations.
Yeah, but the conflict, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, literally a lot of stuff. If you start checking yourself and be like, damn, if I got to keep asking people for money or I got to keep asking for favors, if I got to, whatever it may be, you got to check yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter how you put it.
Address your insecurity. What are you doing
to change your situation?
Yeah, what are you doing in your life that you always got to keep asking people for money?
Yeah.
You can't be asking people for money, but every time I see you on IG with a blunt in your hand. But you want my bread. You laughing, bro. You laughing.
Nah, that's true, though. That's what I'm saying. And sometimes, and that's the thing, though. A lot of times we don't, that's what I'm saying. We don't see the sacrifices and the things that it take for people to get to the point of having, you know what I mean, money or status or work, whatever it may be. Like, we got to start understanding that it takes that. Like you said, I'm not about to...
But they don't even got to see that. I wouldn't even... you don't need to know what I'm doing to get my money to... You know what I mean? For me to justify saying no to you. At the end of the day, I know you got a job, I got a job. We already know that we all have lives to live. We're adults. Nobody's paying our bills for us.
For sure.
So, at the end of the day, whether I'm flashing my bread or doing whatever, my money is my money. But if you coming around asking people for bread, like I said, just look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. Address your issues.
Yep.
What are you doing that you don't have money? Period. Like, it's literally that simple. And then when you figure that out, put yourself in a, make better decisions, delegate your money, be more responsible with your money.
Right.
We literally can avoid this whole situation. But that's just the money avenue.
Yeah,
I think as a culture, one of the bigger issues that we experience is thinking everything's a competition between one another, between people.
True.
We're always in competition with one another. Yep. I don't understand why. Because at the end of the day, majority of us are, living in poverty. Now, obviously, it may look different on, with everybody, but majority of our family are, going through it. We're, by no stretch of the imagination, we're living the good life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. We all, well, that's the thing. So I think when it comes to the competition part, the problem is we look at each other. How can I say this? Because this might shake the room a little bit.
Say what you gotta say, man.
No, real talk.
You're really not.
We different. And when I mean that, I mean anybody that got melanin in them, right? So,
right.
But the way we've been taught has been taught to make us, compete with each other. So my thing about it, like when you think of like athletes and stuff like that, right? Even the worst ball player in the league, truthfully, is still better than everybody else. But like whole time we'll say they trash. Not literally say trash, but I'm just saying like they're competing. We're just competing with we are the only competition in a sense when it comes to a lot of things. You know what I mean? Right. Like LeBron James, his only competition is Kobe and Jordan. It ain't Steve Nash.
Well, competition isn't a bad thing. I think just the problem is, or in order for you to win, you feel like somebody else has to lose, and that's not the case. Competition is good. I enjoy competition.
No,
that's why I love to play sports. I understand any competition. There's a winner. There's a loser. I don't want to lose. Nobody wants to lose.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't need to hate on you for me to win.
Right.
At the end of the day, we both got a lane that we trying to, navigate. We're trying to take over. So if I'm, whether I rap, whatever it is, rap, real estate, ball, we understand. There only could be one winner at the sports competition. At the end of the year, there's only one champion. Is there not?
Yeah, only one.
Right.
30-something teams.
Right. So in our community, but obviously somebody. Oh, go ahead.
No, but that goes into understanding being on a team. I mean, I heard Wallow talking about that. Are you going to play your part on a team?
Absolutely.
And too many people don't want to play their part on a team. I have no problem. Like I said, certain stuff you may do, I'm not good with technology. Other people, this person may be good with technology. This person may be good at this. This person may be good at talking. I'm cool with just being part of a team because we're going to get to the same point. I don't have no point to prove. Facts. That's what I'm saying. I don't have no point to prove to show you, like I said, I'm doing it single. I'm doing it by myself. I don't care about that because, like I said, at the end of the day, we all going to, it takes a team. That's the only way to put it. It takes a team.
I agree. You definitely need to understand that. Like you said, it's not a competition. Where we both can, it's okay. We both can have the same lane. Yeah. We both have to understand that instead of competing against one another, let's work together. Because at the end of the day, we're one person in a world of millions and billions.
Oh, so like I said, I had touched earlier on competition, or you had touched on competition. Where do you think, from your opinion, it started from? Why are we trying to compete with each other?
That's a good question. See, I really can't speak for obviously the older generation, but even, matter of fact, I can't speak for them, but I do know back then, even in our community, whether, on the streets, drug dealing and stuff like that, they feel like in order for them, somebody to be, whether it was the biggest drug dealer in the neighborhood, they had to kill off their competition, hypothetically.
Right.
So seeing that, I guess, seeing that in the movies and stuff like that, and then, just saying it because, think about where we grew up at. Everybody knows somebody that was, that was into the streets. So whether that was your father, grandfather, you heard the stories, obviously that person may have raised you. So you sitting back as a child, soaking in what they're doing, seeing what they have to do. Obviously you see on TV, the movies and stuff like that. So as a child, it becomes, embedded in you and becomes part of who you are growing up. And you start to see like, dang, maybe the only way for me to get to the top is to cut everybody else off at the knees. Right. And ultimately become selfish. So honestly, I think it really just comes from what we consume. But that's me. What about you? What do you think that whole mindset, because it really is just a mindset thing. It's not even something that's true. But
true. I think that, first of all, I'm going to say that I think it's just natural. So obviously, as we was kids back in the schoolyard, we used to always race each other. We used to always, had a little Olympics we used to have at school. So everybody know what I'm talking about. Right. No matter what school you went to, you know what I mean. So definitely natural. Right. I just think that we took it to a point where, like you kind of said, it's cutting everybody off. Back then it was fun. Now it's more so the perspective of,
As a matter of fact,
Even hold on, I'm gonna say this. Even on the flip, it's like if I can't have it, you can't have it.
exactly.
You know what I mean? So the competition can kind of go the opposite. Not even if you know what I mean?
Right.
Like literally, where it's like, well, if I ain't gonna have it, you not gonna have it either.
Right, and it's also outside influence because people make you kind of put you on that, kind of get in your ear and say, oh, that person not better than you, or that person not this, because you kind of see it with women. That's how obviously men, as you alluded to earlier, how men kind of end up cutting each other off or killing each other
Right.
over women.
Money and women. That's only two things.
Right, because you missed out on a woman. Your homie may be, yo, bro, he ain't you. He ain't doing half the things you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Gassing you up
right.
and giving you bad advice.
Right.
And then, really gas you up to the point that it really start to eat at your conscience. Where for you probably would have just, let it slide. All right, I'm on to the next woman. But no, that person, constantly in your ear and feeding you and making you sound like you said, if I can't have it, you definitely not about to have it.
Yeah,
and
for
now
sure.
you see how that literally plays out. But just in the everyday life, we see other cultures, other, minorities that have families, in other countries. When they come over, they start,
Businesses.
they able to start businesses. Think about it. In the hood, per se. West Philly, South Philly, you pick them. What do we see on every corner in our neighborhood?
Chinese store and a poppy store.
In our neighborhoods. Year in and year out, they bringing in millions of dollars. You mean to tell me we couldn't do that? And mind you, we know for a fact, well, probably, the Chinese stores are probably owned by a family. But we know most of them stores probably just owned by one individual owner. For sure. But they allowed their family to come over, make a small sacrifice, put their pride, put their ego aside, because they understand the big picture. They understand that literally, if they bring their people over here, they can get themselves out of there, allow them to get themselves out of a situation and stack a little money, buy this business, buy that business. And, ultimately as a culture, they can elevate themselves. Meanwhile, us, we're too busy cutting each other off at the knees like we can dominate this whole market, and we can't.
Well, that's the problem. We don't see nobody else's competition, bro. That's what I'm saying. If I had a poppy store, we don't know how much money they get. They getting money though. Well, I ain't gonna say Chinese store though. Even if they make $500 a day, that's a lot of money, bro. 500 times 7, 3,500 times 4, that's 7,000, 14,000 a month. Let's just say $500 a day. They're making that at least a day.
Okay.
Especially a good one in a populated area.
Right.
So my thing about it though is we don't view nobody else's competition. Now that could be good and bad.
Well, we know that. We know we don't view nobody else as competition except ourselves. But how did...
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is, but yet, so because we are kind of at the top when it comes to a lot of things. I said we're going to touch on a lot of things later on.
But what you mean at the top? Because I don't think we're at the top of anything.
No, but I'm talking about physically. I'm talking about artistically. I'm talking about content. I mean, anything, clothing, fashion. I mean, whatever you want to talk about, we are the music. Yeah, we are the culture, bro. Like, only a black rapper is going to go over to Germany and Australia and Europe and shit. I remember the first time I seen Pop Smoke was literally a video on his YouTube. He was like in Switzerland or something like that. Mind you, I didn't even hear him yet here. But that's the thing about it. He over in Switzerland and the whole thing going crazy.
Right, but think about what you're saying. Those are individual things that allow them to elevate themselves. Cole being an artist is he invested in himself, his time to become an individual artist. LeBron James invested his time to become a basketball player, to ultimately change his family.
But he also just got God-given ability, though.
I get that, but the millionaire that own them Chinese stores in South Philly don't have no God-given ability. All he did was when he came over here, made a sacrifice for obviously his family that he had over here, lived with them for about a year or two, because obviously we see they right. live with each other.
Right.
Make that sacrifice for a year or two, get apply for business loans that everybody got access to.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get their money, they buy real estate. We're not worrying about that.
Well, they're taking advantage of our shortcomings, though. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But that's what we bringing attention to.
Too, for sure.
That simple right there, we can do that as a team. They're doing that as a team. Other coaches are doing that as a team. That ain't got nothing to do with God-given ability. It's just making a simple sacrifice of your time, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, so you can ultimately change your whole family situation. And literally that will bring us as people from the bottom. Cole just doing it ain't bringing the people as a bottom because we're still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we had the lowest of everything. But even that, but that's what I'm saying. When it comes to competition, bro, you got to understand. It's funny as shit because, like I said, when it comes to fashion, content, anything artistic and stuff, we got everything, right? And we kind of the most talented, most creative, all that. That's just the truth of it. I'm not even arguing that point. But the thing about it is, how can I put it? Financially, I'm saying we only look at ourselves as competition in everything that don't matter. When it comes to money and shit, we at the bottom. When it comes to just having kids and just doing whatever we want to do, and when it comes to people in jail and bro, so much stuff. When it comes to the culture, that we're at the bottom of. So we need to start looking at other people as competition. They're not gonna be competition fashion wise. They won't be competition artistically and shit like that. Well, but we need to start thinking about financially, family wise.
Well, no, but you're saying you look at them as competition. They are competition on the surface, but you have to understand that they're not. Just because they're competition, they're not your enemy. You can learn something. That's the key.
Hell yeah.
That's the key. You're not really just looking at them. Understand. They're doing something. The reason why that person is successful at whatever they're doing, instead of hating on it, have an appreciation for it. Because if you learn to have appreciation for things, you'll learn to look at it and learn from it.
But that's my point, though. We don't have, bro. We talking about pride, right? We don't have appreciation. We don't have appreciation.
Well, we know that. That's why the pride aspect of it. That's where your pride kick in. You want to make enemies when your pride ain't don't listen.
But we look at we automatically looking at each other and thinking, how can you be any different than me? We've been told, everybody the same. No, we're not. And at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not sitting here saying anybody's better, but we're not the same. Some people are more dedicated than the next person. Some people are more disciplined than the next person. Some people are more it's a billion words you could use, right?
Right.
But my thing about it is about giving the flowers and appreciation to the people that can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, perfect example. Like,
you may give the flowers and appreciation to the people that do it.
I'm saying, like,
don't be a hater.
Yeah, don't be a hater. But I'm saying, like, at the end of the day, if we opened up a store, bro, we will get knocked off. Like, it's just the sad reality of it. Like, I don't know why we would just get knocked off.
But the thing about what you just said, you don't know why. That's why, because nobody wants to make a sacrifice for the team. Uh-huh. You just want to make a sacrifice for yourself. We know what the problems is. I mean, that's even why we started the platform. We know what the problems is. Just add, I don't know the answers, but I'm willing to find them out. And if I sat there and asked, how did this group, did this group get the money that they get, or how, Dominicans, Poppies, or whatever, how did y'all get your store? I guarantee you, they'll tell me that they just made a sacrifice. It's that simple. They put their pride to the side. Everybody, when you become an adult, you want to have your own. Everybody want to have their own. We understand it. We understand that. But do you want to have your own, or do you want to bring your family up? You can't have both. You got to pick one. Once you make a decision, then you can probably double back and,
Yeah, true.
Start worrying about that. But they understand. All right, dang, I really want to live by myself, but I can't do that. So I'm going to make this sacrifice for a year or two, and then after I get my money up, make this investment, I can, change my whole family situation, open up a business. One business turned into two business turned into three business. And so it's literally that simple. I guarantee you they'll tell us that's what they did. And that's what we know.
But what I'm trying to say is, my point about it is, unfortunately, I don't even have the idea. Bruh, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to do a lot of things in our community and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But we just know the reality of things. So if I was to get a store at the Poppy store, I don't feel as if it will be welcoming and people will come in, treat you like we know what the reality of it is, right?
Right, which I think is the fear aspect of being hated. But that's why.
But why? But that's what I'm trying to say. Why do we look at each other and think, okay, let's say if a white person opening up a store or an Asian person or whatever it may be, bro, we don't think twice about trying to rob it, trying to do this and this. And part of it is truly self-hate, the way we view each other. And part of that is we don't value, we know it's easier to hit a lick on each other than it is to hit a lick on anybody else. Because promise you, you will get caught hitting a lick on anybody else. That's how the system has created it. They want us to do what we do amongst each other. They don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, that's why they don't care about the bottom, as you can see before.
Yeah, right.
Gentrification, you seen what the West Philly, Philadelphia, all that look like. Now it don't look like, you know what I mean? Since, you know, they moved back down there.
Yeah,
it don't look like that. They built it back up. But for years, they just left it how it was because it don't affect them, it affect us.
Right,
but sure. We have to understand that was deliberate.
Right.
They, you know what I mean, put us in worse conditions that is going to affect the mental.
Yeah, for sure. So just the way blocks set up, bro. You literally in a 1 block period or a 1 block radius, I should say, will have 30 homes on one side, 30 homes on the other. You talking about if 2 and 3 people live in that house, you talk about 300-400 people, bro, in a square foot range of like, I don't even know what the square footage is, but it's in a 1 block radius.
Right, but even think about it. Having abandoned houses, burned houses, all that stuff in the neighborhood brings the value of the neighborhood down.
Yeah, for sure.
So, as you can see, that's how...
And we react off from circumstances, though. Right. So if you already see you in a trash neighborhood, you're just going to throw shit on the ground. It's the mob mentality. Oh, it's already dirty anyway. Right. So, you know what I mean? It don't make a difference. So you thinking what you do don't make a difference, but yet everybody thinking the same thing.
Well, it's easy, too. That's your reality. Day in, day out. Day in, day out. 365. 7 days a week. That's your reality. You see that. So when you see one person happy, meanwhile you're miserable, you're going through it, you're living in, hard times, you're going to hate.
Right. But that's because we look like each other, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. But you're also not, like I say, instead of hating, ask questions, start to educate yourself.
I agree. That's why.
Start to have it's simple. Like I say, it may not, believe it or not, it's simple. Just have an appreciation for what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Especially if that's something that you want, because you can learn something from it. Yeah. Now, if you ask them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to, you may view it as bragging, but at the end of the day, they're giving you the information.
No, it ain't bragging. You ask, so it ain't bragging.
Right. But some people don't like to ask because they don't want people, whether, them throwing money or just going off about themselves, being in awe of themselves.
Then you ain't never trying to be in any situation, because when you work hard and get somewhere, that's just the natural. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I ain't say you're going to be humble.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you work for it. Like, you get to, you pop your shit a little bit. But that's the thing. So you're right. Like I said, when we talk about money, I'm not about to ask nobody for money. What I would rather do is ask how you got it. Because even, let's say you got 20,000, you give me 100. That ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, it might help me in my little situation.
Right.
I'd be better off asking you, how did you get 20? Because you ain't just wake up with 20. So my thing about it is, how did you get 20? Now, if you scamming and shit like that, then, it's a different conversation. But I'm just saying, some people are really working for that, and that's what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? It's obviously, that's what we all need to start doing. Start asking, how did you get to it? But most people don't want to, like I said, they don't want to make it seem as if you're doing anything different than they can do. So why ask you? You know what I mean? You getting the 20, you didn't work harder than me. You didn't do this and that. So there's no gratitude in asking, yo, damn, I'm broke right now. This person got 20. Like, let me ask them how they really got it. That's like dumbing yourself down and making it like, I ain't doing that.
Well, I understand, like I say, we worrying about the wrong shit. That's really what it comes down to. We really worrying about the wrong shit. Because when it comes to getting money, we have to understand, like I said, when you're younger, you're oblivious to this. Because we're living life. In high school, you're just living life. We're just worrying about sports. We're not worrying about politics. We're not worrying about who making money. None of that. We're not worrying about none of that stuff that's going on in the world. Even though since a child we seen without the example I gave about every Chinese store being in every hobby store, we was oblivious to that. We wasn't really worrying about that. But when you get older and you start to really look at things and you see what's going on around us, you see that everybody's struggling. You see how my mom has been working doubles back to back for the last 3 years. just so she can get ahead. And I see how hard she's grinding and stuff like that. And I say, everybody say, because I know whether your mom, you know,
all
what I mean,
our moms, all our moms, bro. We all in the same. That's what I'm saying. Like as a culture, I need somebody outside of Atlanta. I need somebody to take me to the black community. Now people are like, we used to have one, this and that. Like a black community that's flourishing. It may be out there. I'm not sitting here telling you that it's not. But my thing about it is, that's what I'm saying. Even when we talk about hood and the pride shit, right? Everybody be like, yo, my hood, this and that. Ain't no hood tougher than the other hood, bro. You got people on drugs. You got people that has killed. You got people that got killed. It's the same shit. So like we gonna keep trying to prove a point and literally self-destruct.
Right, but that's focusing on the problem because it's simple. What I know is everybody loves their mom.
True.
Everybody loves their mom. So if you see your mom, grandmom, whoever's raising you, breaking their neck to provide for you, or even still doing it, even if you're an adult, ask yourself, what can I do so they don't have to do that? Or what can I do so I don't have to do that? So I can actually spend time with my
but that's
kids.
the first perspective, though. You gotta get yourself in that situation.
Right. Ask yourself that question. And then really write down, pen to paper, and really come up with things that you could do. We're not worrying about what's going on over there, what's going on over there. How can you change your circumstances? And literally, these are the things. Focusing on the problem is only going to lead to more problems.
True.
So I don't even want to do that. You just want to, like I said, get yourself out of that situation. It's, like you said, appreciate things, and you know what I mean? Stop thinking that everybody's your competition, everybody's your enemy, because they're not. Listen, pride,
Yeah, pride for
put
sure.
that to the side as people, but go ahead.
No, we've been jumping around, so I want to kind of get, bring it kind of right back, be a little more direct.
Right.
So, another thing about pride, why do you believe people put their insecurities onto others and onto the next person?
Because don't nobody want to be made fun of. Don't nobody want to be, like I said, open and exposed to the world. So, to literally put that on somebody else, it's kind of like the bully. Yeah, growing up, we didn't understand why the bully did what he did. But, being older and educating yourself, figuring out the, the characteristics,
Right.
the things that they went through, it was because the bully was having problems at home, was getting, beat and abused at home by their parents. So they came to school and took it out on somebody else.
True.
Instead of just, talking to a therapist, getting any problems out of healing. So, like I said, people don't want to be exposed, so they're just going to project it on them. Me, I used to do that. My thing was, I ain't never want to listen to what nobody says. So I always used to, try to make it sound like what they saying was wrong or, get defensive. That's what a lot of men like to do. Men like to get defensive. Yo, watch your mouth. Watch who you talking to. So, start trying to fight. You be like, yo, bro, excuse me. Yo, excuse me. What you mean? You bumped into, unnecessary situation.
Right.
And I used to do that. And I'm like, instead of just being like, yo, it's not that, first of all, it's not that deep.
Yeah, don't.
It's not that, But people don't want to address the issues. People don't want to look in the mirror and really feel, address their fears, their problems that they encounter. They rather just bury them and project them on other people. But as we know, as a culture, that's not getting us anywhere. Because everybody pointing the finger, but nobody's taking accountability for, their part in it.
Well, no, that's true. So I think the crazy thing about that, right? I'm going to kind of get my little 2 cents on what you said.
Right.
Is when somebody, let's say you in a club, and so the thing is, we have made everything that's positive, negative, and everything that's negative, positive. So that's really where the disconnect is coming from.
That's the insecurities.
Yeah, exactly. So we all are in the same boat. We all in the same boat. Everybody think that the dude in the club, see, it's funny, right? The dude in the club, somebody step on your shoe. You ask any dude what he gonna do, he gonna tell you the toughest, coolest answer.
Right.
Anyway, he step on my shoe, it's on. I'm popping the trunk, I'm doing this and that. Whole time though, that's the most emotional answer. That's the weakest person in the room.
And truth be told, that perspective is only coming to impress females. But
yeah, for sure. But I tell you, women and money. But that's beside the point. But I'm saying, at the end of the day, the toughest thing to do, because literally, I will think you're more tough if you walk away from the situation. You good, bro. That's what I say. Like I said, I'm the type of boy, you good, bro. I'm not about to risk my life. I ain't about to put nobody else's life at risk just to prove a point that I'm tough. But the thing about it is everybody be like, oh, you gonna let them just step on your shoe? Everybody around you, like you said earlier, gonna gas you up. And that's going to play with it, and that insecurity, now you really the most emotional. Because if you're really willing to kill somebody over stepping on your shoe, man, I don't know, man. You got some real issues.
Right, but what you brought up that is key, we have to stop normalizing toxic behavior.
100.
At all avenues. We 100. Have to stop normalizing. I mean, because where you see it in relationship, they always tell you, if you can't control your anger, or if you don't like what's going on in the conversation, walk away.
Right.
But what do? Stand there and try to prove a point. And what end up happening? Men start putting their hands on women. Yep. Women start putting their hands on men.
Yep.
Now, you turn around, everybody doing that in a relationship, and instead of...
It's okay now.
Yeah, and we, like you said, normalized it, and it's okay for us to be beating our women, us to be beating our men.
Or women putting facts. No, that's a perspective, but even women putting their hands on a man, don't do that. At the end of the day, it just...
Well, it goes both ways, but they doing it because they feel like they're not just going to let no man beat on them. But
I'm saying even before you get to that point, of course not. I mean, if a dude doing that, I mean, that's just, like I said, ain't nobody condoning that.
Right.
But the thing about it is, a lot of these situations just need to...
I think you skip it over, in the sense of, don't nobody just fight out of thin air. It's a heated conversation about something. It could be anything. It's about something. When you know your limits, you know what ticks you. You know what I mean? You know your triggers. There you go. You know your triggers as a person. Right. So if you know you're 5 seconds from hitting that trigger, or you know somebody may say something that's going to trigger you and have you snap,
leave,
walk away.
Right.
It's just that simple. Because if you're not there, it can't happen.
Right.
It's really that simple. But like I said, where your pride allows you to, your pride corrupts your mind.
Sure.
And really have you sitting there staying in a situation, as you said earlier, longer than you need to be.
Yep, that's what it is.
And literally that whole situation, that whole episode of whether it's, like I said, domestic violence.
Or in the club, does anybody get to be in the club?
Right, or sitting there arguing with your mom, your anybody, you could have just walked away. But instead, you had to prove a point to nobody but yourself.
Yeah, I ain't gonna let nobody. Yeah, right. I ain't gonna let nobody talk to me like that. That's not. I mean, what's the saying? What's all the phrases you get?
What?
I'm just saying, like, when it comes to those moments that you could walk away, but why you don't? I ain't gonna let nobody talk to me like that.
As chicks like to say, my mouth crazy. Everybody know me. My mouth reckless. No, who cares?
I'm grown.
Seriously, who cares? Nobody cares because you can cut somebody out. Are you getting to some money? Are you changing your family situation?
Facts.
All you're doing is, okay, you can cut somebody out. All you did was just probably cut off one of your blessings. Right. But you could tell that person that you cussed out, that you thought was a complete stranger, was probably, who you know, next millionaire, or they could have been that plug to your situation.
Right.
Right, you could have been, if you was a rapper, they could have been a producer. But they, obviously ain't nobody going to reveal what they doing on their life, but you don't know that because you're so quick to prove a point that don't nobody need to come across you because you're going to cuss them out. Or, like you say, as a guy, I ain't going to let nobody step on my shoe or talk to me tough.
Yeah, now you're doing 40 to life.
Right. Just to prove a point and cutting off your blessings.
Yep, and everything that you thought you was proving just went opposite. You lost your girl, you lost your family, you lost your freedom. You lost all money. You lost everything. If you get in there, you might lose your fucking manhood. Like, just keep it a buck. Somebody in there don't lost their manhood.
Literally, your own adversary is your own mind. Because it literally corrupts you in that way.
Well, when Sun Tzu said in the Art of War, if you control a man's mind, you control his actions. Exactly.
That's how you see, women being able to do what they do. Like even for me in my own situations, I know I've come a long way because I used to, just react to anything.
Right.
People can easily get a reaction out of me.
Right.
But I know now I have to remove myself. Like even in my own situations, like the only person, I don't get into arguments with a lot of people, but the one person that can say something get me in an argument is my mom. So anytime I talk to my mother, I literally be like, if I see the conversation, matter of fact, I don't even touch certain subjects when it comes to my mom. Because I already know that we go there, me and my mom gonna be at it.
Yeah.
And I know if I go at it with my mom, I'm gonna have a perspective that I'm not gonna want to talk to her again. But I know my mom, I can't have that because I know how much my mom did for me.
Yeah,
so therefore, I'm not even gonna allow my mom to bring that, hit that trigger and have me looking at her crazy. And that's with a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
So you just have to be able to identify that for yourself, to literally avoid those situations.
Well, I think, no, that's true. I think that's definitely one of the solutions, knowing who to go to ask certain things, knowing what's your perspective. Like, perfect example, if I was to ask, if I said I might have paid like $2,500 in rent, right?
Right.
And I know I could technically afford it or whatever, but you ask somebody that they just can't afford it, they're not going to give you, I ain't even necessarily trying to say that they won't give you the answer you're looking for. They just going to think you're out of your mind because they can't afford it. They paying $1,000 a month and struggling to do that. Right. So they automatically going to tell you 25, and it's like, yo. But then on the flip end, you got to understand that there's people in New York paying $30,000 for a condo, and that's just one house. They got a beach house in Florida, a crib out of LA. So it's like, they ain't no. If we going to talk about not being better than nobody, that's how I view shit. They're not doing nothing different that I can't do. They are doing what I'm not doing. They're not doing anything that I can't do, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's the perspective of understanding, like, I can do what they doing. I just got to find out what they doing. I'm cool to ask. Yo, how you paying for? Because it's like, once you start, putting, levels to that, you're like, damn, they paying $30,000 in a condo in New York. And I'm about to question if I can pay $2,500.
Right, but think about what you're saying. If somebody has something that I want, instead of being in a position where I don't have it, they don't have it, let's put our resources together, or let me put my pride to the side and my ego to the side and ride a coattail to elevate myself at least into the moment I can get there, and then branch off and do my own thing, versus just sitting there being stuck in the same cycle that I'm in. Because ultimately, thinking that you can come up with your own solution to get that house or whatever the situation may be is not realistic.
Well, no, that's facts. That's what I'm saying. That's the funny thing about it. Because even when it comes to that, instead of thinking, I changed my perspective. And I think a lot of people need to start changing their perspective.
Right.
If you want, we know we all want to buy a house. Instead of 3-4 people, what reason do we have for you to be renting, I'm renting, my cousin renting, and your mom renting? Well, not your mom, but somebody else that you actually live, not our mom, but
right.
You know what I mean? Let's say another dude, or my other cousin or something like that. My brother, there we are.
Right.
That's 4 people. Why are we all paying $8,000 to $1,000 when we could get a nice little 4, 5, 6 bedroom? That's what you were saying about putting resources together. Right. Not just to get a business, you could do that to get a home. Now, but one of the things I think for men it was, and I had to learn, I'm not worried about that perspective, is when it comes to women. Trying to be impressing or feeling like you got that kind of pressure. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, nah, I want to say I got my own spot.
Right, fold into
Yeah, right, exactly. I want to say I got my own spot and stuff like that. It's like, at the end of the day, bro, if you living in a mansion, you live in a mansion. I don't care if it's 3, 4 other people in there.
Right.
I'd rather live in a mansion than in the middle of the slums.
Right.
Just to prove you ain't getting it, you know what I mean? She ain't trying to slide anyway.
Right, but everybody has to be on that same page. We can't just assume everybody's on that same page just because of our living situation. That's still a conversation that needs to be had. So whether it's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, we all have to understand, do we all have one common goal, which is to get, in your example, the better situation. Right. If the answer is yes, then we need to know, okay, I understand that because y'all may not all put, let's say, obviously you need money to get this house. Right. Y'all may all not put up the same amount of money.
Right.
But that person that put up the most money may think that they got more say. But you want to identify that before you make that investment, because that's one of the situations that's going to lead to problems. For that not working, why instead of making that investment as a team, They rather just be the individual because they want all the say.
But you'll never get it. I ain't gonna say you
Well,
won't
it ain't
ever
about what they're getting. You have to understand that, is that worth it? Just ask yourself, is it worth trying to get it on your own? Or can you put your pride to the side? Because that, for you to back out of that deal is your pride. There's nothing else.
I want people to tell. We talking about it, but I want people to tell us: is it better to be in the slums, or is it better to be with 2 or 3, 4 people that you can trust and be in a nice ass home that might have a pool in the backyard, basketball court, single home? Not you got a garage, a driveway, you ain't got to shovel off snow. I mean, it's so many things and little things. You ain't getting parking tickets and shit. I mean, we could talk for days about.
But I don't even think that. I mean, not to cut you off, I don't think that the home is the perspective. I think.
Well, that's just what you want to call it, a substitute. You can substitute anything out of that. There's a lot of things we could start doing together. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if we live together, shit. Now, obviously, everybody want their own car and stuff like that. But at some point, you got to start understanding it's no purpose to be having. We living together. 2 and 3 people living together. Everybody paying $400 on a car note. It just don't make no sense. Ain't none of y'all going nowhere. None of y'all doing that.
Well, that's a need. I mean, to get a car.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is,
y'all can share it too. Y'all schedule ain't that banged up.
Well, no. I mean, what I would say is, I think what you spend your money on is what you choose to spend your money on.
Right.
Ultimately, if you desire more in life, which is obviously, whether it's taking a bunch of vacations, a bunch of trips, living the American dream per se.
Right.
You have to understand there's only is not that many ways to get there. Sure. So if you're spending your money and your resources on things that's not going to get you there, jewelry, cars, clothes, and stuff like that,
renting,
or even a house,
that's that rent.
Right, or even a house. I mean, you gotta live somewhere, so I'm not going to take it as far as you rent. What I'm saying is, if you can live in a little apartment for a couple years, so you can invest a portion of your salary to a business, then do that.
Right.
Because you can get the mansion later. But I ain't about to act like you need to take all your money and live out on the streets because you gotta live somewhere. That's just not realistic. That'd be projecting too much. But like I said, you have to understand, if it's more you desire in life, then make sure you're taking the necessary steps to make that happen. And really implementing a plan or putting a plan in place that you can make that happen. But thinking you can really create your own way to being a millionaire by splurging, living in life, being out at the club every weekend, turning up, that's not realistic. That's not going to happen. If you believe that's going to happen, give me an example. I'll wait.
No, we do. I ain't worried about that.
Right. We know that you have to make sacrifices, but your pride had you really thinking that
well, everybody they definitely gonna create their own way for sure.
Right, and create their own lane. So, I mean, look, we can go on and on and on about it, but I just think people need to understand your ego, your pride, you're not proving nothing to nobody. Yeah. By the actions, by doing the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked. We can look all around us and see that it hasn't worked.
Yeah. I told you before that my cousin told me to check my ego. Now obviously that's like damn. Like, right. You know what I mean? What do you mean? First of all, it's like about trying to understand, first of all, what does he mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Instead of me thinking like he trying to take a shower, he trying to do this and that, I asked him, what do you mean? That's the first question. Even when you say something to me, I'll ask you, what do you mean? Because that's where the disconnect may come. I mean, like I said, so we definitely touched on a lot of topics today. Or not a lot of topics, but, a lot of things that go into, why our pride is stopping us from reaching our full potential.
Right.
Not playing, a team role and things like that. So, quickly, I'm gonna just give what I believe a solution is. Then I want you to kind of give what you believe a solution would be.
Right.
I think the main solution is just we gotta stop thinking we know it all.
Right.
That goes for everybody. I understand. Like I said, for me, I understand that right now, an 8-year-old can teach me how to make a TikTok. I can learn how to do it on my own, but I'm just saying, like, they're naturally already know.
Right.
Because their parents ain't teaching them. We know that. So my thing about it is you got to understand that everybody is something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have certain strengths. I have certain weaknesses. I have certain strengths. You have certain weaknesses.
Right.
I can accept that. I can understand. I don't view it as you're better, you're this and that. I just view it as we are different. All of us have something different. And when you can kind of learn that and appreciate that, you'll definitely be able to start checking your pride. It'll be like, damn, right now, this person know how to invest.
Right.
This person know how to, you know what I'm saying? Just whatever. This person know how to invest. This person knows, like I said, good at technology. I'm always going to go to the best at what they do. I have no problem doing that. I don't have to be like, nah, I ain't, you know what, I'm going to try to figure it out on my own. Nah, I'd rather pay for somebody else to do it.
Right. But you have to, I agree, you have to understand your purpose. And in order for you to achieve your purpose at life, you know, whatever God, the reason why God put you on this earth, once you understand it, you have to put in place, you have to put in play a plan for you to execute so you can do it. And let's believe, at some point in life, we all tried to do it on our own. It didn't work. So are you just going to continue to try to do the same thing? Whatever that is. If it didn't work, all right, I tried to do it on my own. I tried to be, you know what I mean, Kobe and score 81. It didn't work. It's harder than I thought. Everybody's not Kobe, as you said. Everybody is not
Kobe.
The next. You have to ride somebody else's coattail to ultimately get to your ultimate prize, whatever that is. It may not be generational wealth. It may not be the mansion. It may just be the best person you want to be. But if that's what it is for you, then by all means continue doing what you're doing. But if you're trying to literally change the circumstances around you, because literally all this stuff is going on around us, you have to understand that we're not each other enemy. We have to, like you said, stop thinking we know it all, because we don't. Have appreciation, have respect for one another. It's just that simple. Really have respect for one another and what other people do. If somebody's better than you, acknowledge that. You ain't got to gas them up. Yo, bro, you tough. You ain't got to be all that. You ain't got to be Joe. But give them the respect. Yo, bro, you nice. Teach me this. Like I said, create a healthy competition between you. That's what I like. Even though, I want to become the best man I want to be, what good is that financially and mentally if my team ain't with me? Literally. So
I said, what's first class if my niggas can't sit?
Absolutely. Literally, what is it?
What good is first class if my niggas?
Right. Literally, anytime, man, I go on a trip somewhere, who the first person I hit up? You. To tell you about it.
Right.
Well, why not, like I said, why not put you in a position to do that? We could be in competition with one another, because that's what's going to motivate us to become the best. If you ask anybody that is the best at whatever they do, they'll tell you, because they know the other person is working as hard as they are to become the best. But at the end of the day, like I said, we don't know it all.
But hold on. So just to kind of wrap it up,
right?
I'm gonna use, like I said, athletes and musicians. Then we going,
right.
The thing is, Drake, ain't nobody in his crew trying to be an artist or trying to be Drake. I don't know if they can or can't be. I don't know, but at the end of the day, they not even worried about it, bro. They on the private jet with Drake, his own plane. They at the games. They still living better than so many other people. But that's just because they playing their part on the team. We seen with football. Everybody wanted to join Brady. You could join everybody else. Everybody wanted to join Brady. Same thing with ball. In the last 10 to 15 years, everybody wanted to join Bron. Because they understand, they just try to play their part on the team. You got dudes that went from starters to being on the bench, and they cool with that.
Boy, I think you should rewind, because I think the good point that you brought up, was Drake. If everybody knows Drake's story to a certain extent. Drake, when he was a free agent artist, he had the ability to sign with anybody.
Right.
But at the time, he signed with Wayne, who at the time was, one of the best, the greatest of all time. Drake knew, because at that time, it was probably the Carter 3 was probably out? Yeah, probably the Carter 3 was out, because Drake wasn't on it. Drake knew what he was sacrificing by joining Wayne. Obviously, he knew that he could soak up a lot of information from him. He could learn the ins and outs of the game and ultimately become a better artist. So for the time frame that he was on the back, he was working on his album, he took a back seat to him.
To Wayne,
understanding that him and Wayne had a conversation that, listen, your time will come. But it's okay to literally sit on the back. Be on the bench for a little bit. Your time will come. But when your time comes,
and arguably you could say now, all around Drake. Come on, bro. It's not even a competition with. At this point, I don't think it's a competition with anybody.
Right, but that's just Drake. Think about Nicki. Literally from being in Wayne's shadow, because in the music industry or anything, both of them don't shine at the same time. Meaning, Drake album and Nicki album didn't come out at the same time.
Right.
So they had to take a back seat to one another. But they understood what the end goal was. And that's why they was willing to take the back seat. So eventually, I say that to say, your time will come.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you have to put your pride to the side, understand that you can learn from somebody, soak up their information, and then when your time comes, it's time for you to execute.
Yep.
But meanwhile, while you on the back burner, you better be learning. You better be sharp, perfecting your craft.
Yeah.
And then when when it's
Time
time to
comes,
shine,
yeah.
get in the game and ball. It's really just that simple. But that's it. Look.
I mean, like I said, we touched on a lot of shit when it comes to pride.
It was definitely good. This was definitely a good episode. I think people really need that episode. I mean, not that episode. Open their eyes and really understand. Like I said, we're all on the same team. We all want to see each other win.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I think for us, for sure. I think for men, we try and push the narrative that we here together. You know what I'm saying? So, what's that? Women, you won't see me talking negative. That's not the vibe I'm trying to give. We trying to bring the culture together.
Right.
Because that's just, we all going to be better that way. It's really just that simple. There's no reason. You're not going to see me, like I said, posting on it's just different. So we try and bring the narrative together.
And what you said, men. Because I got some things I need to say about y'all. But we're going to say that for the next episode.
We coming with some heat for sure.
Men need to start investing in themselves. But I ain't about to get into that on this.
Nah, but they're going to be waiting for it. They're going to be waiting for it.
Right, so definitely this was a good episode. Make sure y'all follow the YouTube page, Is There More Podcast. Follow the Instagram page, Is There More. And
check your pride, check your ego.
Yes, sir. Like
understand
and subscribe.
We better together.
Yes, sir.
Understand that. We out.
Until next time, man.
You already know.